Hey friend, I have a guided reading for you today. Feel free as I'm talking to gaze at the cards, see if anything tickles your own intuition. Remember, some things may resonate more, some things may resonate less, but the important part is if you're growing. So let's go ahead and get started. Guiding our reading today, I have Indy. Now, Indy typically brings us this energy of choices, right? Do I take this choice? Do I take that choice? What direction do I want to move in? But Indy is also giving me an energy right now of alchemy. He's giving me this kind of a juggling of, forces when we think of, like, say, the Temperance card, where you have one cup you're pouring into and then you're pouring into the next cup, right? So there's this juggling, this alchemical process. So Indy really kind of wants to remind us right now that whatever this indecision, whatever this feeling, whatever this kind of, energy that we're in right now, it's not only to lead us to another thing, but it is in fact part of the thing that we are headed toward. Okay, starting out, I have the Ten of Pentacles, all right? With the Ten of Pentacles, this is that energy of abundance, that generational wealth, the prosperity. Maybe your own intuition is kind of giving you this impression that you're going to be able to have some sort of a prosperity for yourself, some sort of, wealth, abundance in your life, right? Maybe, some other reader has been kind of giving you this information and it really clicks. But you're looking at the world around you and you realize that, like, you're not quite there yet, right? You are promised the abundance, you are promised the prosperity, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are promised it today, right? You still have to get from where you're at now to where you want to go. And there are certain steps along the way that help you to be able to accomplish those goals, to be able to realize this prosperity. You probably are feeling a little bit kind of meh right now, right? We have the Eight of Cups. That's that, sense of, like, yes, things are adequate in my life, right? I make enough money to pay the bills and, to have food, but it's not really quite the abundance that I'm looking for. It's not really that prosperity, right? This awareness of the disparity between what you have now and the thing that has been hinted at, that you've been pointed toward, is there for the purpose of getting you to take action, of getting you to get up and move toward that goal. Now, you're not necessarily completely without, right? Like I said, that's kind of that meh energy. You can pay your bills, you can afford food, but you are in this Five of Pentacles reversed, right? There's still this kind of feeling of it's not quite the thing, but you're not left out. You know that the prosperity that exists is still available to you. You are not separate from it, right? When we think of the Five of Pentacles, that would be that, sense of, like, feeling left out, but that if you were to go around the corner to the front of the building, that there would be somebody at the door waiting for you to just, to let you in, to share with the abundance, the prosperity. What if this feeling left out was for the purpose of you, instead of going into the temple to, to seek the blessings and the prosperity and abundance, what if it was for you to go out on some sort of adventure, some sort of, journey yourself in order to find and discover something new and fresh and, abundant for yourself, so that you can build your own temple, so that you can have your own, blessings and abundance to share with others, instead of necessarily having to share, with what is available from others. That it is okay, but you are actually the emperor. You're sovereign, right? You want to create a reality for yourself. You want to create this abundance for yourself. So what happens when you are the emperor, right? You're sovereign. You know that the prosperity is there for you, that the abundance and the success is there for you, but you're still on a journey, right? What is an emperor on a boat? Well, you're still an emperor. You just happen to be on a boat. We have the Six of Swords, right? This is that journey, right? You are heading from where you are now, or where you were previously, toward where you're going. You have this insight, that intuitive hit, or that guidance that you've received from somewhere, that you are going to have the thing, but you still have to kind of be on the journey. You still have to be on the path. And right now, the purpose of the experiences you're having are to develop this Nine of Pentacles energy, right? You You want to have that 10 of Pentacles. You want to have that abundance and that prosperity and that generational wealth. And in order for you to have that to share with others, you first have to create it for yourself, right? There are the steps from where you are to where you're going. And the 9 of Pentacles is one of those steps. You have to create that solid foundation. You have to create that abundance for yourself, being that self-made woman, being that self-made man, or whoever you are, right? The idea here is first pour into your own cup so that way you can pour into others. First build your wealth and your solid, secure strength within yourself so that way when it comes time to share, you have enough to be able to share from. This is the alchemical process, right? This is temperance. What you're experiencing right now, the challenges you face right now, are part of what turns that lead into gold, right? When we look at the angel here, you see this triangle within the square. There is this reminder of who you are. There is this reminder that divinity is your nature, that it's truly who you are, but you still are working on uncovering this. You're still working on this process to transmute that lead into gold, right? And you are this Fool in reverse, right? You're not new on the path. You don't have lead, right? You're not in the stage of lead. You're not in the stage of gold. What you are is silver, right? We have this, the angel here, he's got the lead, the silver, and the gold. What you have right now, your abilities, your blessings, your intuition, your gifts are silver. You still have to put in the work, polish the silver to give it its shine. But when, we have silver and gold, you still have value. What you have right now is valuable, it's important, it's special, and it's worthwhile, but you still have to put the energy in. You still have to put the time in to create the thing you want for yourself. And that kind of brings you into this strength, right? The peace that you are cultivating within yourself is the key here, right? You are this lion. Maybe you have this courage, this fire, this, desire within you to expand, to grow, to experience new things. And that desire drives you forward. You want to take action, okay, I want to build this business, so I put in the practice, I get the tools, I find my customers, I find the people that I connect with. The peace, though, that, the lady here with the lion, the peace that she brings, the calm, the connectedness, that, inner well of, like I said, that peace is the key here, right? You operating from that is actually the tool that gives you the prosperity, the King of Pentacles, right? The peace, the calm, the being in the moment isn't to get you to the place. It is the place. It's not a tool that will give you the wealth. It is the wealth, right? Your ability to be in the moment, to enjoy where you're at right now, to be able to see what are the experiences I'm having right now, what are the actions that I need to take right now. Those are the things that are going to really build and create the reality you want for yourself, right? That is the actual skill and the actual tool. Like I said, it's not that, okay, I'm being peaceful and calm so that I can move forward to the place, and then I drop the peace and the calm. That skill you are developing right now is the skill you're going to be using, right? We have the Five of Swords reversed, right? This is that, Five of Swords being that energy of war. I have to win at all costs, all right? I'm going to be a little bit of a nerd here. If there's anybody watching that's a Star Wars fan, more than just regular fan, but a bit of a nerd to understand, the intricacies and depths. If you know about the different lightsaber forms, for example, this would be that energy of, like, the Sword-Isu, right? Like, the perfect defense, the not needing to win, but being unable to lose, right? Your peace, your cultivation, without that aggression to, I have to take action, I must win at all costs, that is where you can tap into your intuition. That's where you can tap into that Jedi mode with the High Priestess, right? Your skills, your knowledge, your ability to really understand what actions you can take, what actions you need to take, and how to move with the currents of your life. That is the actual thing. That's where you get the understanding. That's where you really plug into that connection. And you come into this Page of Pentacles, right? The being in that moment, the inner child, the enjoying the sweetness of life for what it is, right? You get this peace, you really stop, slow down, experience the moment, enjoy the sweetness of life. And then you have this renewed joy, right? The joy that comes from being in the moment, the joy that comes from just living today, right? When you were a little child, you weren't thinking about, what am I going to do a week from now? What am I going to do a month from now? You were enjoying the moment. You just were there right where you were, okay? So your intuition, your ability to come into this peace, this ability to just kind of stop and be where you are, this creates that light, that joy, that magnetism, and that creates you like this light within you that's like a lighthouse. And that's where we come into this Three of Wands, right? You see the things coming in, the things that you want for yourself, the blessings are coming toward you instead of you necessarily having to go out toward them, because you're shining this light, because you're in the moment. This is where you expand. This is where the most movement happens, right? The irony being that when you are able to be calm, when you're able to be in the moment, this is where you're going to be able to take the most effective action, right? Instead of looking out into the future, like you're on a trail, and you look far off into the, into the distance, knowing that the trail goes over here and winds this direction, and I'm going to take this action and this action and this action. While that's fun, to kind of have these thoughts about what we're going to do when we get to that point, your responsibility right now, where you're at on the trail, is to navigate where you're at right now, that expansion, right? Like if, I see the fork in the road where I'm at right now, I choose that path, okay? That Chariot energy comes out of this, right? In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you would see the Chariot, they're actually stopped. The Sphinxes, they're sitting down, they're taking a pause after having left the city that had been destroyed by death, right? The ability for you to pause, the ability for you to understand where you're at and what are the right actions to take in the next step, in the next moment, those are the things that are going to really kind of help you move forward. So you're peaceful, you're in the moment, you're moving, and suddenly you're finding, there's these chattering voices that, like maybe you have somebody saying, you can't do this, maybe you have certain fears that you're experiencing, right? That domesticated voice of somebody saying, oh, do this thing because it's the safe thing, or the fears that it say you're never going to succeed, and you just kind of move on, keep moving forward, ignore the chatter, ignore the voices, be in the moment, move forward, and this really kind of activates your power, right? The Ace of Wands. This is where your own capacities, your own natural talents and abilities really come forth, and this is where that fire, really kind of like lights up in you, and you can take the kinds of inspired actions that you need to here and now, and you just live in the moment. You live as the Hierophant. You embody your spiritual practice. You really embody this, being in the moment now, right? And you just kind of just keep juggling, right? You juggle, you deal with your responsibilities, but you know that you're moving in the right direction. You know that you are moving forward. All right, friends, hopefully this is helpful. Remember, you want to slow down. You want to take a moment to step into the peace and not have to be in a rush, right? Because ironically, the most helpful thing for you to be able to move forward quickly and effectively is for you to know where you're at now and what steps to take right now to navigate you in the right direction. If this has been helpful for you, go ahead and leave a like for me. Go ahead and drop a comment. If you don't know what to comment, you can comment a sunflower emoji. That's a spirit guide of mine that'll let me know that you see me. Also really helps out the algorithm quite a bit. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. Click on the bell icon and click on all. You're not really guaranteed to see a video anymore with the changes in the algorithm this year just because you're subscribed. Head into my channel, find a video that resonates with you, and I will see you in the next one.